So just to review what we're going to go over today, I'm going to give you financial terms to be familiar with as business owners, whether you're just getting started, whether you're feeling a little lost, or you are just trying to improve a business that's already running pretty smoothly. Just give you a little reminder on some financial terms and what they mean. The biggest part of building a business budget, a lot of the times, is understanding your expenses, all of that money that is just flying out and you don't understand how it's flying out so fast. Being able to have a clear idea of what that is, which is why I told you to take out your pens and papers and your notes sections. I want to help you identify your revenue streams. So that's the other end of the equation. So we can have money coming in as money's coming out, and hopefully more money coming in than coming out. I want you to be more confident in your financial goals, meaning that if you say, I want to make $100,000, I want you to know why. And if that $100,000 is actually a realistic goal, or if that $100,000 is actually not even a scratch off the surface of what you really want in life, I want you to understand it with confidence. So I'm going to help you build those business budgets. Obviously, in an hour together, we cannot build a comprehensive business budget. But at the end, I'm going to give you some offers, and I'm going to have a Q&A that can hopefully help you do that beyond this session together. This is all about education, right? It's going to take more than an hour to actually build a solid business budget, okay? But I'm going to tell you how to do it. Sound good? Just so we have clear expectations going into this. All right. So anybody, is this you? You're like, a budget? What does that even mean? I thought I was just supposed to like sell. All good, all groovy. If this is you, no shame in that game. It's time to share. All righty. So I want you to either raise your virtual hand, your real hand, put in the chat box, unmute, tell me, have you ever built a budget for your business before? Like, have you ever like dabbled in that, or have you just kind of started doing? Anybody ever built a budget before? Anybody? Not seeing anybody. Okay, awesome. Love it. What is your biggest fear when it comes to budgeting? Gab, is there anybody in the chat that's chatting that I just can't see? I want to make sure I'm not skipping over anybody. What is your biggest fear when it comes to budgeting? Meaning, why haven't you done it yet? Did you not know you were supposed to do it? Did just like actually seeing what you're spending and what you're making like freak you out and you didn't want the awareness of it? Did we just not know how?
So in the chat, we have people have built budgets for personal use, but not for business.
Okay.
We have some forgetting items that a fear is that they'll forget something that they're unaware of or that they don't really know about.
Mm-hmm.
The technicalities like line items and categories, that expenses might be higher than the income. A lot of it is like what to include and where to start is what I'm saying in here.
Okay, got it.
And taxes.
Got it. Alrighty. Now I want to know what your goals are. All right, we know what the fears are. Let's get in the high vibration standpoint of what are our goals. What are the financial goals for your business in 2023? I want you to put them in the chat. I want you to say it loud and proud. If you don't know, you don't know, and that's good too. But put it. Let's let everybody have awareness over where we're at. What are your goals? I want to profit this much. I want my business to make this much. I want to not be in the red. That's good too. All right, Gab, anything in that chat box?
What to include, when it's more service, have more profitable months where I pay myself. That's a great one.
Love that.
Net profit, profitable business with a solid business budget and plan, good financial system in place.
Okay. Alrighty, I think those are really, really solid goals. I think it's really interesting that a lot of people didn't put a number, which is all groovy, but is typically what I share. You just have more of these like goals of that are really, really smart and really, really amazing, to say, I want to be more profitable. I want to start paying myself. Now, as you go through building a budget, it's really understanding what those numbers will be, right? What do you need to pay yourself? How much do you want to make? How much does your business need to profit? How much do you need to bring your expenses down? And are your services or products even priced correctly for you to ever reach that number? Those are going to be a lot of the questions that we'll be asking. Sometimes I forget what I put in here and it kind of makes me laugh. But all right, this is what we want you to feel. We want you to just be throwing the money, just throwing it around like it's no big deal because you're making so much of it. Okay, first things first, let's talk financial terms. Nobody ever taught me this, and I had to kind of teach myself. So I could go into rooms and I could talk to investors and I could talk to people and really sound like I knew what I was doing before I was really like a business coach where I taught people these things. Okay, so as we look at some financial terms that are just some basic ones that we should know, I will say there's two types of expenses typically for your business, okay? There's going to be fixed expenses and there's going to be variable expenses. So whenever we think fixed expenses, these are the things that are the same no matter what, every single month or every single year. Meaning you have to pay these things regardless if your business is doing well or not. These could be expenses such as like utilities, if you have like a brick and mortar business, rent, if you have like a brick and mortar business, if you have employees, their salaries, like that you have to pay that whether the business is doing well or not. These are considered like fixed cost within your business. Other fixed like expenses could, or fixed cost is something else that people might say, is like your Canva subscription, your Apple like subscription for your storage, right? These are these subscriptions that you have that are the same every single month. And you know that you need those to run your business. Like it's not like a luxury. You have to have them to run the business, okay? Then there's the variable expenses. So these are the things that could like shift and move and groove around every month, but we could set a budget for each of these line items. I've heard that term being kind of tossed around. So whenever we look at the budget, we're going to say, okay, these are the fixed expenses. How much do those add up to? And these are the variable expenses. So some variable expenses or costs could be like shipping. So the shipping is going to change depending on how many things you sell, right? So we can't really say, but we can know what the margin is on our shipping to be able to understand what that cost is going to be versus like how many items that we sell every month. Commissions, if you have people that work on commission to help you in your business, those are probably going to change every month, but it is going to be expense to expect. Supplies, scissors, notepads, ink for your printer. Hourly wages, these are things that can shift, right, every month to where if you're paying somebody like on an hourly, you can shift what those hours are, and that would shift what those expenses would be. Other line items that I typically see under like variable expenses are like marketing. If you're trying to set like a budget for your marketing, that you say, I want to spend $100 a month for marketing expenses, to where that could go up and down, but you're setting that budget and it would be a variable expense because it's not $100 every single month, right? How are we feeling? These two things make sense. Cool. I see people starting to write down some things to come to mind, right? Maybe some of those subscriptions that you have, maybe some of those variable expenses, start jotting them down, because then you'll want to put these into something like a spreadsheet or another like tool that can help you organize these. So two other terms that I would get familiar with are going to be gross and net. So these really threw me off whenever I was getting started. Understanding gross refers to the total amount or quantity before deductions and expenses, meaning that if you made $20,000 in sales this month, that doesn't mean that you get to put $20,000 into your pocket, because in order to make that $20,000, you had to spend, let's say, $10,000 on your marketing, on your rent, on your shipping, on blah, 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 in order to make that $20,000. So the $20,000 would be your gross. Your net would be the $10,000 that you actually profited after those $10,000 in expenses. So that would be your net. Somebody referred to me, and it's never left my brain. It was the net, like picture it as kind of like a fishing net. And it's after everything kind of sifts through the net, and whatever you're left like over with, that's going to be your net. Does that make sense? So whatever you're left through, whenever all of the gunk and all of the expenses go through that like fishing net, that's what you're left with. The gross is all of the gross stuff that's going through, that's not going through the net, is like before it goes through the net. I hope this is making sense. Somebody told me this and I've never forgot that visual in my head ever, and always been able to understand gross versus net. All right, some other financial terms that I want you brilliant humans to be aware of are the term ROI. I remember when I was saying this term so loosely, and a lot of people around me were like, ROI, what does that mean? ROI means return on investment. And this is something whenever you're setting KPIs, which are key performance indicators in your business, understanding how much it took you to get that amount of money. So you'll see a lot of corporations use this term ROI all the time, meaning that they want to know, if I spend $5,000 on this thing with you, how much money can I expect back? What's going to be my return on that $5,000 investment? You could see this thrown around a lot in like the stock market, right? If I put $2,000 in the stock market, what's the ROI that I can expect? What's my return that I can expect on that investment? Meaning that if I buy a tool or something to improve my operations in my business, what would be the ROI I can expect by improving that in my business? Okay. That if somebody asks you to spend money with them, say, what would my ROI on that be? And they might like take a step back and be like, oh, she knows what she's talking about, right? Cash flow. Ooh, this is an important one. Please write this down. Please perk up if you're not perking up right now, okay? Cash flow. Whenever businesses that failed were surveyed and asked, why did they fail? A study showed that 82% of them failed because they lacked sustainable cash flow. Okay. Cash flow is the money that is coming into your bank account, right? So cash flow is let's see what this term is. Cash flow is a measure of the amount of cash generated or lost through a business's operations. It's different than the net profit, as the net profit includes non-cash expenses, such as depreciations, and excludes some uses of cash, such as capital expenditures for new equipment, repayment, outstanding debt, blah, blah, blah. So meaning that you need the money in your account to be able to pay things. Like once you hit that zero mark, it's going to be really hard for you to run your business, because let's remember, we have fixed expenses that no matter what happened, we have to pay them. It's very similar to where if like you're working at a corporate job, right? And you have that cash flow that's coming in every single paycheck, right? Maybe every single Friday it's coming in. Now, if that stopped, if you lost your job, your landlord, wherever you live, right? Or the bank where you have a mortgage, they really wouldn't care that you lost your job. They would still expect you to pay that rent. Now, if you're not able to, then you're probably going to lose your apartment. You're probably going to lose the things that you need to like live your life, right? So this is the same thing in business. If you're not able to pay your rent on your brick and mortar, if you're not able to pay your employees, we can expect that the business is going to fail, meaning that we need consistent cash flow coming into the business in order for the business to succeed. Because let's be real, it takes money to run a business. Even if you're a service-based business that just needs a Zoom account and my email, that's still money that you need to run your business. Profit and loss statements. These are going to be terms that maybe if you've been running your business, you know what these look like at the end of every year, or at the end of every quarter, at the end of every month, meaning that you need to be able to put a profit and loss statement together to show people what you have profited and what your business has lost over certain periods of time. Now, this can be kind of hard to put together if you're just using a pen and paper, or if you're just using a Google spreadsheet or something like that. But there's a lot of different tools. There are a lot, but I'm going to introduce you to one that I'm sure you've heard of that can generate these automatically. If you're putting in your expenses and your cash flow and your profits and all of that into it will help you generate these profit and loss statements with these. So when somebody asks for that, like banks, if you're looking for a loan, or investors, they might look for something like your profit and loss statement. You can generate it in 2 seconds. Okay. Are there any questions? Gab, are there any questions in the chat box right now? Let's go through them.
Yeah, so we have one, is gross after taxes.
Great question. So whenever you think of your expenses, you should consider the taxes that it's going to cost you to run your business. Now, this is going to be different depending on what type of business you are. If you are a sole proprietor, if you're an LLC, if you're an S Corp, and a lot of the tax questions, I would say you need to bring people onto your team that can really understand how to optimize that for you. Okay, so this is like not really a bookkeeper. This is more of like your CPA. This is more of like bringing somebody on that could really, with your financial planning, of understanding the different tax statuses you're going to be at in your business. And this depends on how much money you're bringing in, is going to be how the different tax like breaks or statuses that you can get. If this is the Sierra that I think it is on this call, y'all should connect with her because she is really, really awesome at this, of understanding this too. So Gab, can you see if that's Sierra? Perfect.
It is, yeah.
Amazing. Y'all should connect with her. She can really help you through a lot of these understandings on that level, but these are the basics, okay? So whenever you are first getting into building your business budget, this is what I want. These are some questions that we are going to be asking ourselves as we're getting started. If we're just getting started, or if we're looking to optimize, these are good questions too. I want you to ask yourself, am I ready to commit to an ongoing financial system? Now you might be like, duh, but it's not so duh, right? You have to understand that your business budget isn't a one and done thing. It's something that is ongoing and something you need awareness of every single day in your business. You need to know what expenses are going out, what ones are going in. You need to build in habits that make it habitual for you to understand what is happening financially in your business. And you need that commitment there. What do I need my bookkeeping to help me with? If I am I looking to grow? Am I looking to scale to a certain number? Am I looking to like just spend less time categorizing like everything? What am I looking for help with? Once you're able to identify that, you're able to identify the solution that can actually help you get there. A question that I like to ask is, what day am I willing to commit to financial prep? For me, it's every single Monday morning at 8 a.m. It's in my calendar. It is a reoccurring event that I look at everything that is happening to where I can plan for the future. I can say, we can increase our revenue goals there a little bit, or we need to look at decreasing some of these expenses here, or how can I plan more for the future? Are there any things that I need to categorize? Does my bookkeeper need anything? Things like that. This is going to be a question, understanding what tool or what system you're going to use that's going to help you the best. So how do my financials get put into a system right now? And how do I want them to be? Are you always adding them like manually? Like you're going and you're manually putting them in? Or do you have it automated? Like if you have QuickBooks right now, you might have linked all of your credit cards, all of your bank accounts and everything to it, to where it's automatically getting added. You can put automations in place to where it automatically like categorize things for the things that are kind of the same every month or all the time. You go to the same Starbucks and Starbucks always knows, QuickBooks always knows it's meals and entertainment, things like that. Or do you go and put them in a spreadsheet every single Monday? So whenever I think of two of the systems that you could use for this, and by the way, there are a zillion more, but these are the ones that I feel confident sharing with you because I've actually used them, okay? So whenever I first got started and I didn't have a ton of money to invest in, right, a lot of different subscriptions and things like that, I just used Google. I used Google spreadsheets, and we even have a template that we sell like to this day on our website. That is a Google template spreadsheet to track all of these things. It took me more time to go and manually do all of this, but I was able to build it to where I understood it. Google, we know, is free. We can use this in a way to where this shouldn't be a limiting factor in you getting your finances together. Now, as we've grown the business, right, I've been able to invest in some other tools to help maybe automate some of this to save me time, because I know my time is more valuable now at this stage in business, which we use QuickBooks, and I love QuickBooks, right? We have a premium plan, and we use QuickBooks Live Bookkeeping, which is like $350 a month, and you get your own dedicated bookkeeper that keeps up with all of your business's finances every single month. They put financial reports together. They make sure that you're up to speed and you have everything that you need to succeed, to where you just have to approve everything at the end of the month because everything is automated, everything is systemized, and you're done, okay? So this could be something you know that you're ready for right now, or can be a goal that you work up to in your business, okay? So I want to walk you through my key steps for success whenever you're building a business budget. And I would do them in this order, okay? So if you have your pen and paper, write this down. The first thing I would do is I would identify my offerings in my business. What are those key offerings that I have? And how much am I charging for them? Now, if you're a service-based business, let's just say you're a coach, right? You're a coach and you say, I have a 90-day program. It has 12 sessions in it, meaning it's probably going to take me 12 hours to 15 hours. And I know that I charge X amount for it. And then I have this other offering that's like this. And then I have this other offering that's like this. And I know these are the perfect offerings for the target audience that I am trying to reach. I also want to say, be ready to change those prices potentially. Okay. So we're going to identify the offering. Then I want you, and okay, so then if you're a product-based business, I want you to identify what that product is, how much you're charging for that product. Same way, okay? Alrighty, so the next step is gonna be to identify the expenses in order to run a business with those offerings, okay? So let's say that you are the coach, right? And you say, in order for me to run this business, I know I need the premium Zoom account, and I need, we use HoneyBook, right? Because it helps us systemize all of the things. So I need like a CRM to run all of those things. I need Calendly because it's going to make it easier for people to schedule with me. And you may need a couple other things, right? So this is where we start to understand how much, like, the offering is X amount, but in order for me to even have that offering, it takes me this much to run my business for those offerings. The next goal is going to be to identify what your revenue goal is, understanding that this might change too. I hear a ton of people say, well, I want to make $100,000, okay? And I say, great. Hey, Sierra. This is Sierra. Everybody can wave at her. She just popped on. She can help you with all of those tax questions. So definitely pop in with her. So the next thing is going to be identifying your revenue goal. Here, a ton of people say, I want to make $100,000, Priscilla. I say, fabulous. Do you want your business to make that much, or do you want to make that much? Right? I heard somebody say earlier, like, I want to be able to pay myself in my business, which I think is such an important goal to have in your business. Now, you need to understand what you want to pay yourself, meaning you need to understand your personal finances before you even step into this business side of things. If you want to be an employee within your business, because there's a difference. If you're an employee within your business, or if you just have a business that you're not an employee in, but like you're just making whatever the profit the business makes and deciding how much to take from that, but you just have other people running the business to where you don't pay yourself like a salary within it. So there's a difference in understanding where you want your business to go. But let's just talk about the revenue goal for the business. So we want the business to profit $100,000 this year, meaning that your revenue goal for sales needs to be much higher than that, because it needs to cover all of the expenses it takes to run your business. So you can't end up profiting that $100,000 in the business to take to maybe even reinvest into the business the next year, or take it yourself and go on vacation, whatever you want to do. Maybe reinvest it, but if you want to go on vacation, that's cool too. So next, after that, you're going to break down what is needed from you within the offerings that you have to reach those goals. This is when I talk about, if you have a coaching program, is like, I'm just going to use it because it's like what our business is, okay? Coaching program. I know for each of those, that $3,500 that it's going to take me, that I charge for that program, it's going to take me X amount of hours to execute that. I am only one human that only has so much time in a day. So I will hit a capacity for that offering at some point. Meaning that if I have a revenue goal and I only have so many hours in a day with that offering, there is a limit to how much money I can make if my business only has that offering, right? Now I can think of different revenue streams to add more revenue into the business that don't take my time, energy, and effort, but there will be a cap at some point with me. And I have to make sure I have that awareness where I can decide, well, maybe I need to change my revenue goal, or maybe I need to change the pricing of that service to where I can actually reach my revenue goals, because I know that's what's going to make me feel fulfilled. So instead of 3,500, maybe it needs to be 4,500 because I know what my capacity is. So this will be adjusting your pricing or of your services or your products if needed. Now, these are some of the hardest parts of this, But I will say it's nothing like doing all of this and then not sticking to it, and making emotional decisions in your business and not sticking to this plan. Because this is a solid plan. The numbers do not lie at the end of the day. Okay? You need to stick to your budget and make smart business decisions, not emotional decisions. Make decisions that are money-making decisions at the end of the day. Okay? I want you to review your progress daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly. I want you to have immense clarity in what it means and where your business is at, to where you can make those smart business decisions because you are in strong awareness, to where somebody asks you, how much are you profiting? Like, are you profitable in your business right now? How much, what are your margins? Like, you know all of these things because you're in it every single day. Doesn't mean you have to be the one doing it, but you have the awareness, okay? I want you to see your progress to where you know when you need to ramp things up a little bit, and you know when you're good and that cash flow is coming in steadily. All right, so we're not going to look at the books today just for time's sake, but I will say we have the business budgeting template that you could buy if you need something to help you get started. And that is in our template shop on our website to help you there. And this is what we just went over, right? So it is these, just in review, identifying your offerings, identifying the expenses in order to run a business with said offerings, identify what your revenue goal is, break down what is needed from you within the offerings that you have to reach that revenue goal. I want you to adjust your pricing or services if needed to make sure all of these things are playing well together. I want you to stick to the budget that you set and make smart decisions, business decisions, if it needs to be adjusted because things evolve. I want you to review your progress daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly. There should never be any surprises, ever, because you know what is going on with your finances. This is a pretty harsh quote, but it is real. If you don't have a plan to make money, you have a hobby and not a business, which is all groovy, right? If you love what you do and you just want to do it to have fun, do it, right? But if you want a profitable business that is making money, you need to have a plan to make that money. Let's not assume that it's just going to appear, right? How many times has money just appeared out of thin air? Not very many times. So have a plan to make that money.